Welcome back to The Authentic Disciple, where we follow Christ in dynamic ways, transformed by His grace, sustained by the Spirit, and bearing witness to His redemptive mission through faith, love, and obedience. Last time, we explored the name Emmanuel, God with us, and the divine echoes of I am. Today, we examine two of Jesus' most vivid metaphors, bread and light. These aren't just symbols, they're sustenance and sight. They show us what it means to be nourished by His presence and guided by His truth. Jesus doesn't just say, I am. He tells us what He is. He says, I am the bread of life, and I am the light of the world. These aren't abstract declarations, they're invitations to receive, to see, and to live. Let's begin with bread. In John 6, after feeding 5,000 people, the crowd is amazed, but they still request another sign, another miracle from Jesus before they believe in His divine authority. In seeking this sign, they reference Moses, who they say gave their ancestors manna or food from heaven when they were in the wilderness. But Jesus reframes the manna narrative. He says, Truly, truly, I say to you, it is not Moses who has given you the bread out of heaven, but it is my Father who gives you the true bread out of heaven. He then adds, For the bread of God is that which comes down out of heaven and gives life to the world. The crowd is not just intrigued, but they actually start believing Him. They begin calling Jesus Lord and ask Him to always give them this bread. Jesus replies, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me will not hunger, and he who believes in me will never thirst. This reference to bread is not just a metaphor, it's revelation. It's a claim of divine provision. Jesus is identifying Himself as the true bread from heaven. Manna sustained Israel physically in the desert, but Jesus offers a sustainment that satisfies the soul, not just the stomach. To be a disciple is to receive that provision daily, to rely on His presence, His teaching, His Spirit as the sustaining center of our lives. It's not a one-time encounter, but a continual abiding. Jesus isn't offering a temporary spiritual refreshment. He's offering Himself as the permanent source of eternal life. And that invitation never ceases. Keeping that in mind, let's shift to the light metaphor. In John 8, Jesus stands in the temple courts during the Feast of Tabernacles. Large lamps have been lit to commemorate the pillar of fire that guided Israel through the wilderness. Against that backdrop, Jesus declares, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life. Again, this is not just a poetic statement. It's actually prophetic. Jesus is claiming to be the fulfillment of divine guidance. The pillar of fire becomes a person. The light that once hovered above now walks among us. Light reveals, it protects, and it guides, and Jesus does all three. He reveals the truth of who God is. He protects us from the lies that distort our identity, and He guides us through the moral and spiritual complexities of life. To be a disciple is to walk in that light, to let His truth expose our shadows and His presence to illuminate our path. Bread and light, nourishment and guidance. These are not optional extras. They are the essentials of being an authentic disciple. Jesus doesn't just offer comfort, He offers sustenance. He doesn't just offer clarity, He offers direction. And both metaphors are rooted in His divine identity. Jesus is not just a teacher, He is the source, the sustainer, and the revealer of divine bread and light. So when we say, I believe in Jesus, we're not just affirming a set of doctrines. We're saying, Jesus feeds me daily. Jesus guides me daily. And when Jesus says, I am, He's not just revealing who He is, He's actually revealing who we become as we follow Him. Disciples are fed by His truth, guided by His light, and transformed by His presence. That's the invitation. That's the life. We'll go ahead and pause here for this episode, and next time we'll explore how Jesus' identity as the Good Shepherd deepens our understanding of divine care, protection, and belonging. Until then, may you continue to be nourished by his presence and walk in his light.